Warm greetings everyone. On behalf of W4W Foundation, a think tank instituted as Citizens Collective, we welcome you to another session of Wednesdays for Water. The conversation today is part of the pollution series which we have been running for quite some time now, and we are in the 7th session of it, and we talk about water solutions through recharge and rejuvenation. Before we get into the session, the objective of Wednesdays for Water is to engage in conversation with water experts, grassroots practitioners, policymakers, and youth to explore the complex intertwined issues associated with water and the possible solutions they are working upon and seeking for. It has expanded since then to have more activities like the Friday Waters and the Monday Munching with Women for Water, besides organizing on-site water workshops, walks and talks, seminars, special courses, and conference panels to continue the water conversation in various possible ways. Putting all of them together, we have actually crossed 400 sessions, and we are now the longest water conversation ever taken place, in fact, all over the world. Do visit our website, www.W4W.in, for more details. Today I'm really privileged because I'm coming from the house of W4W. I'm Mansee Bal Bhargava, and today I'm going to be a very good listener because we have Priyanshu Kumath from Clean Waters to take charge of the session, and it is also homecoming for Priyanshu, and I do remember he was our guest speaker for Lake Pond Series, and 2 years ago in fact, and he has volunteered to take this session on water solutions through recharge and rejuvenation. I met Priyanshu with his site and project just few months ago in Indore, and I was so convinced about his passion and motivation to work on water matters. Over to you, Priyanshu, and thank you so much for putting this session together for us. W4W is surviving with speakers like you all. Thank you so much. And over to you, the floor is yours.
Right. Thank you, Mansee. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction and the kind words. It's good to be back here today, but it's not about me. I'm a moderator today, but we have two wonderful, stellar speakers with us here today in the form of Harshit Sharma and Dr. Ananth. So this session will be about them and water solutions through recharge and rejuvenation. I know both of them personally. To tell the speakers about both the to tell our audience about both the speakers, I'll firstly introduce Harshit. And so Harshit is actually my friend and batchmate from IIT Bombay. We both did our BTech in civil engineering together. So I've known him for quite some time. And he currently serves as the director at MLK Waste Management LLP in Bhopal with extensive experience in wastewater, water treatment, fisheries, water treatment plant, etc., including over 450 EPC projects and a lot of innovations in decentralized wastewater treatment system, DWATS, and recirculation aquaculture system, RAS, etc. He's also been recognized as a water hero by the Ministry of Jal Shakti in 2020. And beyond his technical contributions, he also actively engages in social initiatives through Young Indians and the Global Shapers Bhopal Hub, which is a part of World Economic Forum, promoting rainwater harvesting, tree plantation, and charitable fundraising. So he volunteers with Narmada Samagra on rural water filtration and solar water treatment projects as well. So really his experience spans across a lot of water verticals in the water sector. And his family business was of fabrication, and he's a founding member of Citizens for Accountable Government as well. He has past experience in Deloitte as well, so I think he comes with a stellar exposure as well. I'll now kind of hand over the session to Harshit and let him share his screen and present his work. So Harshit, you have about 8 to 10 minutes to present. So please go ahead, share your screen. Let's get the ball rolling.
Thank you so much, Priyanshu. Thank you so much for the kind words. I'm just a student of water and wastewater, trying to do some work on the ground and grassroots. So I would like to talk about two specific things, which are decentralized sewage treatment plants and my work with rainwater harvesting and social initiatives. So first part of my presentation is about decentralized nature-based sewage treatment plants. Uh, I would like to start with proposing wastewater as a resource. I have some data here. I would just like to brief through it. As you can see on the screen, about from the census to 2011, about 81.4% of households in India have toilets. I think this number has gone above 95% now with the Swachh Bharat Mission 2 program coming in. Then again, according to census, percentage of households in India which are connected to sewerage lines are just 32.7%. We can safely assume that out of about 100 households, if we consider India as 100 households, about 33 households are connected to sewer lines. Then, uh, out of those 33, a distant 31% of households might be connected to sewage treatment facilities. This makes the data about 8 to 9 households out of the 10 households in India, out of the 100 households in India which are connected to sewage treatment facilities. After this data, the CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, claims that more than 85% of decentralized sewage treatment plants do not work. So you can see here that decentralized sewage treatment plants or sewage treatment plants are in India are not working as per the expectation of from them, and resultant of which is more than 75% surface waters are contaminated by sewage across India. Just to give you an example, what is the quantum of sewage generated in an urban setup like Bhopal? So we have two big lakes. One is the upper lake and one is the lower lake, which you can see here. Lower lake can be filled with sewage or treated water sewage in just 37 days. This is the quantum which is generated. Introducing MLK. So we have a varied experience in terms of natural treatment technologies. Natural as in treatment technologies which do not use a lot of electromechanical items. Diverts is one of them, and fecal sludge treatment is also from using diverts based technologies. Mechanized treatment systems, we generally practice SBR, MBBR, and extended aeration systems. We also have some experience in recirculating aquaculture systems, which is basically a closed circuit fisheries system where we recirculate the water which is used in the fisheries tanks, and then fecal sludge treatment plants, both mechanical and natural. We have presence in over 30 cities in 7 states, and we have done more than 450 projects in STPs and ETPs. Through those 450 projects, we are now treating more than 10 crore liters of wastewater every day. This is a snapshot of decentralized wastewater treatment systems. Basically, decentralized wastewater treatment systems, DWATS, was coined by an organization called BORDA in Germany. And through my experience, I think this system, it is an anaerobic treatment technology. Basically, there are many anaerobic treatment technologies which are clubbed into one STP. This system is very much ideal for household wastewaters, or wastewaters which are coming out of any colony or any other establishments where only domestic wastewater is considered. I'm not talking about effluents which have lots of oil and grease or industrial effluents in it. I'm just talking about domestic wastewaters, which is our expertise. Basically, just to give an introduction about these DWATs, we use uh, different technologies. Primary sedimentation tank is one of them. Second is anaerobic baffled reactors, anaerobic filters, planted gravel filters, or which can be also termed as constructed wetlands. And then polishing ponds or filtration. We use some filtration after this to make the water reusable in gardens and all. And if we want water for flushing as well, we used a forced oxidation method of ozone treatment after the horizontal planted gravel filters and pressure sand filters and activated filters, so that people can use the water for flushing. CPHU manual also mentions about diverts and how diverts can be very advantageous when decentralized plants are considered. Decentralized plants, which are up to probably 500 KLD to 1 MLD. This is a general uh, layout of plan and section layout of decent diverts. You can see we use a vortex for aeration and uh, the planted gravel filter also for polishing of water. But the main heart of the system is the ABR, and ABR is anaerobic baffled reactor and anaerobic filters. So the point of using diverts in a scenario where a lot of people, lot of colonies in India, or specifically MP, Chhattisgarh, and states not containing metro cities, because metro cities have a lot of water stress. They would really, I think, they would really be upfront to pay for operation and maintenance. But for cities which do not have a water stressed environment, they do not want in general to pay for operation and maintenance. I personally feel that diverts is a technique which can treat the wastewater to acceptable standards, acceptable BOD COD standards, if not nitrogen and phosphorus, uh, in a very less operation and maintenance cost, which might also be pocket friendly for residents of resident welfare associations and societies and so on. These are some photographs of our sites. We are able to produce very clear water from it. This is one of the daily college in Indore, where we supply the water for their gardens and grounds. Again, we are using only a vortex treatment system and chlorination to achieve these results. This is one of the videos from one of the sites. I would really like to show it very quickly.
से ये हमारा एमएल के वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट की एक टेक्नोलॉजी जो कि हमने हमारे मेंटर से सीखी है, और उसमें हमने खुद से कुछ एडिट्स किए हैं ताकि पानी और बेटर ट्रीटमेंट हो सके और कम से कम स्पेस में एक सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट बन सके। ये हमारा ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट है जिसमें टॉयलेट्स का पानी, बाथरूम्स का पानी आके प्योरीफाई होता है। इस ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट की खासियत ये है कि ये सिर्फ एक पंप इस्तेमाल करता है अपने पूरे ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, जो कि ये वॉर्टेक्स ट्यूब जो हमने बनाया है, ये वॉर्टेक्स ट्यूब को फीड करता है एरेशन के लिए, और इस वॉर्टेक्स ट्यूब से पानी जाता है प्लांटेड ग्रेवल फिल्टर में, जहाँ पे हमारे कैना के पेड़ हैं और भी जो मार्शी प्लांट्स होते हैं वो पानी को एरेट करते हैं, इसमें से न्यूट्रिएंट्स निकालते हैं ताकि पानी हम यूज कर सके। ये पानी अभी यूज होता है इस कॉलोनी के गार्डन्स में। ये कॉलोनी है भोपाल में जहाँ पे हमने ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट लगाया। आइए मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ इसका ट्रीटमेंट का कैसा पानी का। ये हमारा पानी है जो ट्रीट होके आ रहा है, आप देख सकते हैं काफी साफ है, और ये फ्लशिंग में इस्तेमाल हो सकता है और गार्डनिंग में इस्तेमाल हो सकता है, जिससे कि पूरी कॉलोनी का करीब 50% पानी हम बचा सकते हैं ये ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट से अगर पानी रीयूज करते हैं। थैंक यू।
Yes, next slide. I would just like to mention here about Dewart's vortex and any MBBR kind of mechanical treatment systems, the costs related to it. As you can see, the purchase of any mechanized treatment plants is lower when compared to a technology like Dewart's because of the extensive civil work which is present in Dewart's. But when we consider the merits of diverts, where we do not need a permanent operator to maintain the sewage treatment plant, probably a part-time operator who is handling different responsibilities in a society can look after this plant. And electricity cost is also very less in diverts because we do not have any air blowers which are aerating the STP. You can see, and I have not included any kind of inflation or depreciation of anything, just plain numbers. Lifetime cost of any MBBR treatment plant for 25 years is close to 279 lakhs, and diverts it is 1.06 106 lakhs. So this is one of the advantages where we are trying to convince different builders and different colonizers to shift towards DWARDs, specifically who are in the range, who have effluent in the range of 0 to probably 200 to 300 KLDs. These are cost-saving potentials of decentralized STPs. When we consider that our fresh water is being built, like in cities like Bangalore and all, then we will really appreciate the cost of decentralized STPs like DWARDs and all, which can produce the water in rupees 0.0071 per liter. So treated water is about 7 times cheaper than tanker water and 4.6 times cheaper than municipal supply water.
Harshit,
So
requesting you to complete your presentation in the next 2 minutes,
yeah,
please.
sure. So I would just like to go through challenges which come. These are technological challenges and administrative challenges. Major challenges, the lack of vigilance by government authorities like PCB, where if they do, people, good companies might be will come into picture, and the scenario of wastewater treatment will be very, very great, I would say. Challenges for housing societies currently is such that they are not responsible for installing their STPs, the builder is, and the builder can go get away with anything right now in India. Monitoring by the agency should be stronger, and I think domestic sewage treatment plants, decentralized sewage treatment plants, which are being installed by private players, should be subsidized by the government, like industrial effluent treatment plants. 40% subsidy is given to the industries. So I would skip this slide. My vision for urban India is basically where one concept which we discuss a lot, and I discussed with Priyanshu as well, that government should mandate use of treated wastewater and should create a marketplace where companies like us can bid for any supply. And then, I mean, this can include government and private as well, so that companies like us are incentivized to uh, treat the wastewater in the best way possible. These are my volunteer activities. Uh, again, coming to the rainwater harvesting, Priyanshu, I'll just take 1 minute. Rainwater harvesting is one topic which is very close to my heart, because I know that rainwater harvesting has played a very important role in my hometown or my gaon in Rajasthan. We basically harvest all the rainwater that comes to our house, and so in Bhopal also I have done a lot of advocacy for rainwater harvesting. It has clear benefits. It is basically free water which we can guide into our borewells and all. Specifically from places which where borewells are there in every household or probably in any unit. So this is my presentation. Thank you so much, Priyanshu. Over to you.
Yes.
I'll stop sharing.
Right. Thank you, Harshit, for the wonderful presentation. I'm sure the audience would have a lot of questions to ask you as well, but we'll hold on to those for now for the second half of the call today. I just want to quickly check if Suresh M G sir, if you're there. I see you've joined the call, but can you hear me?
He is there, certainly.
Yeah,
She is.
we can see him. Yeah, I can see your video, sir. Suresh sir, could you unmute as well?
हेलो
Yes, Suresh sir.
हाँ जी
I
वो
see
तो
you're
मैं
on the
आज आप
field
लोग
today.
साथ कनेक्ट नहीं
Yes.
कर पाता तो भी हो गया है आज एक्चुअली हमारे यहाँ कलेक्टर डीएम पूरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट के ऑफिसर्स का दौरा है तो भी मैं कोशिश करूंगा 5-7 मिनट में अपनी बात खत्म कर पाऊँ
Yes,
ठीक
sir.
है ना
So, definitely, sir. So please go ahead. I'll give your introduction maybe later, but you can go ahead first and speak. Go ahead, please.
माई सेल्फ सुरेश एम जी मैं पिछले 30 साल से रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग वाटर कंजर्वेशन ग्राउंड वाटर कंजर्वेशन के लिए इंदौर और आसपास के इलाके में बड़ी मात्रा में काम कर रहा हूँ हम लोगों ने इंदौर नगर निगम के लिए इंदौर शहरी रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का करीब 1.5 लाख रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग 1.5 लाख घरों में किए प्लस करीब आप ये मान के चलें 200 से ज़्यादा रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स पोन्ड्स तालाब बनाए उसका परिणाम ये है कि इंदौर शहर का जो ग्राउंड वाटर की स्थिति थी, सालों पहले ये देखा जाता था ग्राउंड वाटर 800 फीट पे था। हमारे प्रयासों के बाद आज की तारीख में ग्राउंड वाटर, हम मान के चले, मुश्किल से 150 फीट तक पहुंच गया है। मतलब हमने 600 से 650 फीट तक हम लोग ग्राउंड वाटर को ऊपर ले आए। उसके सब परिणाम स्वरूप इंदौर की स्थिति ये है कि इंदौर बहुत अच्छी स्थिति में पहुंच गया है आज। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज की जरूरत है और अलग टेक्नोलॉजी की जरूरत है। पहले तक हम लोग ये करते थे कि जो वाटर शेड के प्रोग्राम करते थे, लेकिन अब चूंकि ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग, तो ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज के लिए हमें हाइड्रोलॉजी को भी यूज करने की जरूरत है अब। क्योंकि हम लोग जब ऊपर का पानी रोकते हैं तो ज़्यादातर पानी मॉइस्चर बन के उड़ जाता है। तो हमें ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज करने के लिए अलग अलग संरचनाएं जिसे बनाना जरूरी है। अभी हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, रिसेंटली शायद पहली बार ये हुआ, हम रिचार्ज शाफ्ट बना रहे हैं। ये भी 200 फीट से ऊपर बोरिंग करके उसमें हम लोग जितना भी जल बहाव का पानी था, जो पानी बह के चले आता था, वो पूरा पानी रोक रहे हैं। उसका परिणाम ये हुआ कि जो इंदौर में कई जगह बाढ़ बाढ़ जैसी स्थिति आ जाती थी, वो कम हुई और आज पानी पूरी तरीके से जमीन के अंदर जाने लगा। आज इंदौर की जो जनसंख्या में बात करूँ तो 50 लाख लोगों की जनसंख्या है। हम लोगों के पास पीने का पानी मुश्किल से 25 लाख लोगों के लिए था। 25 लाख लोगों के लिए जो पानी होता है वो हम जमीन से, ग्राउंड वाटर से हम निकालते थे। लेकिन आज ये स्थिति बनी है कि हम लोगों ने बहुत आंशिक रूप से, नहीं बोलूंगा, बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हम लोगों ने उसको रोका। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि ये सब कामों को हमें पूरे हिंदुस्तान में करने की जरूरत है और इस काम को बढ़ावा देने की जरूरत है। जितना हम बढ़ावा देंगे, जितना हम काम को समझेंगे कि ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज के क्या फार्मूले होते हैं, कैसे कर सकते हैं, तब तक लोग समझेंगे, फिर करने की जरूरत है। हर शहर, क्योंकि अब क्या है, अर्बनाइज जैसे जैसे होता जा रहा है, तो अब क्या हो रहा है कि शहरी संख्या बढ़ रही है, गाँव में पलायन हो रहा है। तो गाँव में जरूरत है नदियों को जिंदा करने की, शहर में जरूरत है कि शहरी वाटरशेड डेवलप करने की। शहर में अभी कोई वाटरशेड नहीं होता। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया भी जितने भी प्रोजेक्ट सैंक्शन करती है या काम करती है, वो पूरी तरीके से ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के लिए करती है। लेकिन जब से हम लोगों ने शहरी क्षेत्र में किया, तो बताने मुझे गर्व हो रहा है कि पूरे भारत सरकार का वाटर अवार्ड होता है, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का एक ही वाटर अवार्ड होता है। वो लगातार 6 बार से हम लोगों ने जीता है इंदौर शहर ने। सफाई के लिए तो हम जीतते ही हैं, लेकिन 6 बार से इंदौर में काम किया, लेकिन उसमें ग्राउंड लेवल पे काम किया। और मुझे बड़ा गर्व से कह सकता हूँ कि मैं भी उसमें उपस्थित रहा हूँ। तो आप लोगों से मेरी अपील है कि आप लोग ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज करने के लिए जो कर सकें, अवेयरनेस कर सकें या कोशिश कर सकें, करें। हम लोग तो आपके साथ हैं ही। टेक्निकल या जो भी ज़रूरतें हैं, हम लोग आपके साथ हमेशा रहेंगे। थैंक यू।
Right. Thank you, Suresh sir. Thank you for taking out the time. I know you're on the field, but you still took out time to speak to us today. And that's a
थैंक
great
यू।
flavor to have. Yes. Thank you so much, sir. For the audience, I'll quickly give a brief about Suresh M G sir as well. So I've known him personally for quite a few years now because we both are from Indore. So Suresh M G sir is actually the project coordinator for the integrated water management program at Nagraj Charitable Trust. He's also the project in charge for the rainwater harvesting project for the Indore Municipal Corporation. He mentioned that he has installed more than 1.5 lakh rainwater harvesting filters in Indore so that more and more groundwater recharge could be done and the groundwater level could be brought up. Uh, about the organization, so Nagraj Charitable Trust is actually a non-political, a non-for-profit making trust. And for the past 53 years, they're working for the people in both rural and urban areas. And I see that Suresh and sir and Nagraj Trust have worked for Indore and are kind of instrumental in reviving the groundwater table here. And deservedly so have won the national awards as well from the President of India. Also, he recently rejuvenated a lake in Indore called the Limbodi Lake. That lake was silted for decades. And after he did his desilting works, he opened up the channel, he deepened the lake as well. That was the first time in decades that the lake had completely filled up. So anybody working on towards the quantity of water, rejuvenating of water bodies, reviving the groundwater, uh, could get in touch with Suresh MD sir as well. So that's about him. Thank you, sir, for taking out time today. And now I'll kind of move on to the final speaker for today, the one with the most experience here, Dr. Ananth Kodavasal. So, to tell you more about him, I think he is the most experienced one here. He has more than 4 decades of experience with his own organization. But just for more background here, he holds a BTech in chemical engineering from IIT Madras, and then he did his master's and PhD in chemical engineering from Nashville in the States. And he's been working in the water sector for almost 5 decades now. He started his work as an environmental engineer with Hindustan Door Oliver, worked with a couple of other organizations, including Voltas International. And he has been running his own organization for almost 39 to 40 years now, so almost 4 decades, working primarily on wastewater treatment, water resources management, operations and maintenance, reviving dead treatment plants as well, eco management, audit systems, etc. So we'd all be honored to kind of learn from you, sir. I'll hand over the floor to Dr. Ananth so that he may share his presentation and tell us more.
Thank you,
Over to you.
Priyanshu, for that introduction. Yeah, I'm passionate about what I do, and that's what keeps me going, even though I'm now 73 years old. I try to set an example for the younger generation. I work minimum 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like what Narayan Murthy says, I follow, but it's a passion. It doesn't tire me at all. So let me give you a background. Initially, we started off with industrial effluent treatment plants. There were not too many of these decentralized urban STPs at that time. These came into the picture only after 2006, after the MOEF notification. And after that, our focus changed to STPs from ETPs, mainly because, as Harshit said, more than 85 to 90% of the STPs in the decentralized sector do not work. So we got into understanding what is it that fails these STPs. When I can do ETPs, which are extremely difficult, from brewery to distillery to bulk drugs, whatever starch, if I can do ETPs, why do STPs fail? These are the simplest. Sewage across India, across every city, across the world is the same. It should be the easiest to treat. And then we realized, we did a detailed study based on an assignment given to us by the PCB. We did a study of all these prevalent technologies uh, currently in use across India. So this is what we found. I looked at the mainstream technologies, STP technologies. This is our background. I don't want to go into this. There are 3 cardinal laws for a good STP: proper design, proper engineering, and proper operation and maintenance. These are the 3 pillars for a good sustainable STP or even an ETP, which will run for 30, 35, 40 years plus at least cost of ownership. Our oldest plant is now more than 37 years old, still under our care. That is for the Unilever Research Center here in Whitefield, Bangalore. It started its life as the Brook Bond Brew instant coffee factory, and we have been the only permanent fixture in that site. But apart from these 3 pillars, the foundation must be perfect. That I call, being a chemical engineer, the zeroth law. Selection of the most appropriate treatment technology. Please mark the word most appropriate. I'm not against SBR, I'm not against MBBR, I'm not against MBR. All these are excellent technologies, but in their own way, in their own sphere. For instance, this is what we found when we did a detailed study of these technologies. Being a chemical engineer, I understand the benefits of batch reactions. SBR is excellent technology, but in a large municipal scale, where the flow is more or less uniform. Look at the definition of SBR in a small scale STP or any STP. SBR is sequencing batch reactor. It treats the daily generation of sewage in 3 equal batches of 8-hour cycle each, if it is normal domestic sewage. If it is industrial sewage, the one batch may take 2 days, 3 days, whatever, depending on the BOD. So domestic sewage, it's a 3 cycles, 8-hour cycle each. But just think, which residential complex, which commercial complex, which mall, which hotel generates daily sewage in 3 equal installments? None of them do. Therefore, by definition itself, SBR is not the right technology where you encounter such huge variation, peak hour flows. For instance, in residential complexes, we have been operating more than 95 plants now, many residential complexes for more than 15 years. We see 40 to 50% of the daily average comes during the morning peak hours, 6 to 9 a.m., where there's a working population. So what do you do? How do you handle such a huge peak hour flows? You need a large collection tank, equalization tank. The SBR tank has to hold for 24 hours. The decant tank has to be bigger. So every tank in an SBR STP is at least 50% more than the corresponding tank in the continuous treatment plants, whether it is extendation, MBBR or MBR. So there itself, SBR loses its advantage. But look at the large municipal plant. The advantage of SBR is you don't have a settling tank, clarifier, you don't have sludge recirculation, everything happens in a single tank. But then for that, the other factors has to match. And it doesn't match in a small scale STP. That is what we want to say. Just to give you an understanding, in Bangalore, there are more than 4,200 STPs in Bangalore in the decentralized sector. And more than 500 million liters per day is said to be treated in these plants. More than 85% are dysfunctional, wrong technology, incorrect design. Within that technology, whichever technology you select, you have to apply the proper scientific design criteria, proper engineering criteria, and then proper operating maintenance. And therefore, when more than 85% of the STPs are dysfunctional to various degrees, they are not able to treat the entire quantity of wastewater, or if they take the entire quantity, they are not able to meet the quality standards. So people see little benefit, huge O&M cost, and that is why these STPs remain dysfunctional. Also because, as Harshit said, the enforcement is very, very lax. I am very openly telling it suits the pollution control board officers for STPs not to work. And if the STPs work, the owners are benefited. It's the other way around. And we have in Pune, we have branches in Pune, Chennai, Hyderabad, apart from Bangalore. The story repeats itself. History repeats the same thing. In Bangalore, the technology which is used is SBR. So I call this disease SBRitis. And I'm yet to see, we have audited more than 250 SBR STPs across India, not just in Bangalore. None of them work. And why do people call us to audit the plants? Because they are not working. SBRitis. And in Pune, West, and many in the North, it is MBBRitis. I know the reason for it. I'll not get into that. And the surprising thing is, many of the builders from the Western region, when they do their STPs in Mumbai, in Pune, they choose MBBR. But when they come south, suddenly it changes to SBR. STP technology for a certain size and scale is not dependent on geography. It is purely the technology which should recommend itself for that use. I'm again stressing the point. SBR is excellent technology for large municipal plants. I will not even go at ASP. MBBR is excellent technology for large municipal plants. I will not even look at extendation or ASP now. That is the truth. And the other thing is, when people fail in SBR, they shift to MBBR. They upgrade it or downgrade it to MBBR. It's like from the frying pan into the fire. SBR to MBBR or MBBR to SBR. It is happening across. I have seen many, many instances of that. So I'll not get into all these things. So what is important is hundreds of crores of money is invested in these STP assets in Bangalore. More than 3,500 are defunct, as I said. And if you rectify these plants, make them functional again, huge freshwater savings potential, and protect the environment. And most important of all, we see now, it ensures future water security of the community. That is going to be the challenge in the coming years across towns and cities in India, across the entire world, in fact. And in all the treatment plants we operate and maintain, residential, if the STP works well, the community is up to 60% self-sufficient in their requirement of water for all secondary uses. Break-even point at 100 rupees per KL, which is the tanker water rate typically. Beyond about 80 KLD, the STP makes money. This is the break-even point. The operating cost for an STP versus what savings in freshwater purchase cost, the break-even point is 80 KLD. And even if one has to spend community 50 to 60 or 80 lakhs, the payback period is just a matter of months when you save so much water. This is a typical, what do you say, the operating cost for a 650 KLD STP, which we did a few years ago. It was few years ago. You can see this was without denitrification. You could see 13.2 rupees per KL is the operating cost for an externalization plant. We have captured all the cost items here. And compare it with 100 rupees per KL, that itself should give you a good this thing. So typically we have seen if an STP works well in a residential large multi-storied apartment complex, the saving per flat in the maintenance cost will be about 700-800 rupees per month. That is the net saving after the cost spent for the operation. Savings, great savings, self-sufficiency in water. These are some of the benefits. Total peace of mind, ESG compliance and all that. So this is an MBBR STP in Pune, which we rectified way back in 2018. The developer spent 35 lakhs that time, and it has worked excellent performance throughout and to date. So this is the basic biological reaction, as I said, and aerobic biological reaction. And this has to be perfectly balanced. The wastewater, amount of wastewater, the microbes, the oxygen requirement, and the nutrients. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have excess nutrients in domestic sewage, and therefore we now have to remove that excess sewage as per the mandate of the NGT. So STP technology is prevalent in India. There are so many. I will restrict myself to the classic externalization system. This came into existence way back in 1947. It has been around for years and years and years. It is the tried, tested, proven, reliable, and robust technology. SBR is excellent technology, as I said, for municipal scale. MBBR again for municipal scale. MBR is a different kind of beast. It is only for commercial clients with deep pockets who understand they have to spend money. I don't recommend it for residential complexes or malls or hotels with oil and grease content. So STP guide published by the KSPCB is focused on externalization. You can download this book and then get a load of it. And I will say the classical conventional externalization activated sludge is still the best for the small scale STPs up to about 5,000 KLD. The flow sheet and everything is there in that book, so you can see that. This again is the same Pune MBBR which we converted. There was an 18-hour shutdown in the power because of a cable burst coming into the STP panel. Within 72 hours, we could get it back to this condition. So these are some of the EA35, I call it, because some of our plants are now more than 35 plus years old in our care. These are some of the, you can see there's no difference between Bisleri and these waters. So it is excellent. So next we turn to MBBR. MBBR is slightly different from externalization. It is an attached growth reaction. Primary sedimentation is a must, is mandatory in MBBR. None of the MBBRs we have seen in India has primary sedimentation. So they do not qualify to be called as MBBR. These are all fake MBBRs. Sludge handling issues are huge, poorly designed, poorly engineered, not appropriate for small scale. Developed in Norway in the 1980s, you can see every treatment process flow sheet has a primary sedimentation, which is missing in Indian MBBRs. This is the main problem here. The other problem is primary sedimentation, generic plastic media cannot transfer more oxygen, engineering challenges, you have to maintain high dissolved oxygen. So engineering challenges are there in small scale STPs, which negate all the advantages, other advantages the MBBR can claim in a large municipal scale treatment plant. So this is what I mean. This is the original carrier media. You can see the anox calnus carrier media with good coating. But you go to any MBBR in India, pull out the plastic media, you just see the plastic media floating around. There is no coating. This is because the plastic media is not perfectly suited for MBBR use. And also the dissolved oxygen is not maintained. As a chemical engineer, I have done a brief study on the DO profile. So you have to maintain, even to maintain a 1 millimeter thick film, you have to maintain DO of 3 to 4 ppm. You can understand this poses a huge challenge for the energy conservation energy. So these are some of the main
Dr.
problems.
Ananth, requesting you to please complete your presentation in 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, sure. So MBBR, as I said, is not at all suitable. It is only 50% of an externalization in India. This is what the conclusion is. Sequencing batch reactor, I already said, it is unsuited, and the heart of the SBR is the mechanized decanter, which is not there in any of the SBRs we have seen. And this is what the problem is. Sludge is pulled out, the tertiary filters get choked. This is what happens. People just use a rudimentary pipe decanter, and this pulls up a lot of settled sludge, And this is what causes the problem. You need a mechanized decanter, which is not there. And this causes a lot of problems in running of an SBR. And as I said, each and every tank in SBR is oversized compared to the expiration, and therefore SBR is totally unsuitable for small scale STPs. As I said, we have done more than 250 audits of SBR STPs. None of them works. If they work, they can treat only 50% of the flow, 50% they throw out untreated. This is the main problem here. This is an SBR STP for Phoenix Mall in Bangalore, which we converted way back in again 2017. Still working after a heavy Friday night, Saturday night rush. You can see the quality of water. So that is it. I will restrict myself now because the main challenge is MBBR and SBR. MBR very few people use, and there are major challenges now coming because of the high nitrogen content we find in raw sewage. All these other technologies again face huge challenges in denitrification. DWATS, I think Harshit already this thing. I'm a great fan of Ludwig Sase, who wrote this book. I've read it from cover to cover, and I understand. So 50 KLD NBR HDFC school we have. We put another 50 KLD also for it. Good technology, but only I restrict ourselves only to about 40 to 50 KLD, not more than that. Again, because of the nitrogen limitations. The denitrification is quite a challenge in these anaerobic technologies. So MBBR, no problem. Reliability issues, still a matter of serious R&D, good future prospects, but that is for another day. So key takeaways from this presentation is, from a long-term perspective, exoneration is still the best, most appropriate technology as of today. Anaerobic CACO EDOX totally unsuitable. SBR, MBBR inappropriate for mini SME. MBR is for future. So this is what? So when we converted the SBR in Phoenix Mall from SBR to exoneration, the chairman of the Pollution Control Board asked a question: don't you like these modern technologies, SBR and MBBR and all that? But what is so modern about it? Modern bullet train may be modern, high tech and other things, but it can be used only intercity. Within Tokyo, the suburban network, you still have to go for the old coaches like in the Bombay suburban network. So what matters most is what works best in your particular situation, your particular application, not what is most modern, high tech and things like that. So exoneration is still the best. So 10 to 80 KLD
Right.
micro ANBR, 100 to 1000 EAS, EAS. Beyond about 5000 KLD, I'll switch to MBBR. MBR is emerging technology for future. So that's our brief presentation. I am totally in fact, out of the 95 plants, 90 plants are exoneration. Only about 5 plants are MBR, and that is for very high-tech clients like Intel and Blackstone Group. Otherwise, that's the presentation. Thank you
Right.
all. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for the wonderful presentation and the really the width of knowledge that you gave us covering so many technologies. You also mentioned about how for different quantities of wastewater, different technologies should be selected. So I
Yeah.
want Dr. Ananth and Harshit, both of you, to come in on how does a client go about selecting a technology based on the site they have. For example, there could be a marriage garden, a hospital, a hotel, a residential unit, a industrial unit just receiving the sewage, not the industrial effluent. So how does one go about finalizing the technology? Because I think that was your first point, right? The zeroth rule of selecting the right technology.
Yeah. In fact, I have done a comparison up to about 5000 KLD of MBBR, SBR, and exoneration. I have left out MBR. In fact, I was a big fan of MBR also. Until recently, until about a year back, we found that the nitrogen content in domestic sewage, residential complex, is about 80 to 100 milligrams per liter, not what CPHEO says or what Metcalfe and AD says. It is across 3 cities we did analysis, and we used the lab, SGS lab in Chennai. That is a little more reliable than any of the labs. You go to any lab in India, in Bangalore, for instance, we went, all NABL certified, all MOEF certified. There is absolutely, I cannot rely on those. I have blacklisted all of them very truthfully. They just print
Right.
out something and type out and give it to you. We don't want that. So we all sent these samples to SGS in Chennai, got a fairly reliable thing. And you can see, I'll share that thing with you, in fact.
Right. So while you do that, Harshit, could you also come in? I think you've also built in anaerobic, aerobic technologies both. So what would you say which sites should go for which technologies?
So my experience working in MP and Chhattisgarh, which are Bimaru states, uh, and people really do not want to put in money, is a little different from Anand sir. Sir, what happens in Bhopal, Indore, Raipur, and other cities of MP, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and all? People really don't want to pay for sewage treatment plants. Uh, if they had the option of bribing the PCB officials and not putting up a sewage treatment plant, they always choose the first option.
You're
Uh,
right. It is easier to handle the pollution board than the STP when the
yes,
STP in the first place doesn't work. But
yes,
I beg to differ with you, Harshit. Many
mhm,
of the builders, I don't want to name them, the frontline builders from the western region and southern region, they have spent more money on their SBR and MBBR STPs. I can tell you because we have audited many of them. Recently, we audited two. One of the western region big builder, one of the biggest builders now in India, and one from local builder, again number one builder here in Bangalore. What they did, they segregated grey water and black water and two SBR STPs they put. And they have given UF, you have given RO, they have spent a huge amount of money, but the UF and RO fail because the front end SBR it doesn't work. And
yes.
the residents are crying now. The project was sold as net zero water, now it is net 100 water. You will not
Mhm.
believe. They are buying every drop of water there and they are crying. So this is the condition. So I don't blame the builder. I blame the builders only because they have not realized their mistakes. They do not correct themselves. They have not learned from their mistakes. Again and again, they repeat the same mistake. That is
So,
why I blame them. They
so the
get
people who
misguided by these MEP consultants. I don't know for what reason. They have their own agenda.
Yes, so this is, I agree with you, sir, that all MEP consultants have different pockets, different pockets in different STP companies and all. I agree with
Hmm.
you. All through these 11 years of operations, I think the biggest takeaway that we are proud of is educating the clients and spreading awareness about STPs and all. This was because the clients who are in touch with us since 10 years back, they are still using STPs which we are building right now. I mean,
Hmm.
they are still in business with us. So, uh, here actually the problem comes, they can build any kind of STPs. But why DWords is being chosen here now in Bhopal is that they do not need that tension after the installation of the STP. And they really do not want PCB officials to come after them after the STP is handed over to the residential societies, because residential societies do not pay for anything.
Correct.
They are not even paying 80,000 rupees for a sewage treatment plant, which is yearly, sir, yearly. DWords sewage treatment plant which we have installed.
No, I
So
agree
this
with
is
you.
one of the,
DWATS, the operating cost is hardly 15% of the conventional aerobic systems.
yes,
We
yes,
have done that study. I fully agree with you. Operating cost, in fact, I don't even put an operator in my DWATS plant. I just
same, same.
train the security fellow or the gardener to come and switch on the filter for 1 hour. So we
Yes.
design the tanks in such a way that they have to
Mhm.
operate the filter 1 hour in every shift. That's it. So you
Yeah.
don't have any manpower at all. That's the greatest advantage, certainly.
Yeah.
So,
So
also, yeah.
just to continue on that point, the operation and maintenance cost is always definitely an important parameter that should be looked at because just setting up an STP or an ETP doesn't help, right? Unless you really run it. And often we think about tier one, tier two metros and cities. But let's talk about rural areas as well. Maybe small villages with population of 2,000, 10,000, 25,000. How should they be really planning about managing their sewage? So, would you go for conventional STPs, anaerobic ones, or would you like to move towards maybe sequential ponds or something like that? So, what would your both of your suggestions be for rural areas?
Sir, please, पहले आप.
No, the
Okay.
NGT is very clear. You cannot have different standards, quality standards, depending on the tier size of the this thing. Across India, it is the same. They have to meet 10
Yes.
BOD, they have to meet 50 COD. So I would suggest in such rural areas, best to go for DWATs. And you can get an exemption for nitrogen because they may be using it for agriculture. So why
Yes.
remove nitrogen spending money and then add chemical fertilizer? So that is
Right.
definitely a good this thing for a good case for DWATs in a rural area. In fact, DWATs are developed for application in rural low
Rural
cost
area.
rural sanitation in developing countries. That was the original concept of DWATs for
Yes.
rural areas.
Right.
And
Same. My answer is
Yes,
also the
Harshit.
same. If the rural community has the money and has the will to install sewage treatment plant, first of all, they do not have money. And whenever a government fund comes in, if they are to install, if they have to install a sewage treatment plant, they should do it in terms of diverts and constructed wetlands. As simple as that.
no,
So that
the other thing I would also suggest is
Mhm.
they can just go for some primary sedimentation and use it for
Yes.
irrigation. In fact, that's what all the military farms used to do. If you
Mhm.
recall, there was something called
Yes.
military farms in India, and even the state of California allows that. You can just do primary sedimentation and use it for irrigation on crops which are not eaten raw. Simple.
Yes.
That is the simplest and easiest way for rural with a lot of lands for cultivation.
yes.
Got it.
So
All right.
for that matter, sir, anaerobic ponds and aerobic facultative ponds are also very
Correct,
beneficial in rural scenarios.
correct. So that's just primary settling and then
Yes.
use the water.
Yes. So, I have another question for you both. So basically, you both, I see both of you work on the B2B segment, the private segment as well. Do you both also work with the government, and what are the typical challenges that you see, and what are the improvements that you'd like to see interacting with the government, whether be it municipal corporations, pollution control board, or any other government department? So, would love to hear your thoughts on this.
No, we do not like to work with government agencies on any projects, but we do give them a lot of advice. We do some technical reports for them, do a lot of research, share with them. But then it all ends up, in the circular file. They appointed me as the subject matter expert in the NGT committee for wastewater management. I did give them a small white paper on how to go about implementing whatever they are supposed to do. Nothing happened. We just had one single meeting, and that's the end of it. And then later, 2 years later, I followed up on that and said, what happened to my white paper on the NGT's commission and all that, NGT committee on wastewater management. The government in turn set up a huge committee with about 20, 25 bureaucrats, and they said, we will take it up from here. So I don't know what's happened after that. So this is what they do. They just set up committees and then
So,
nothing
what are the
happens.
changes that you'd really like to see so that overall the sector improves?
The changes I would like to see is put some targets for these pollution board officers to bring down pollution in their particular area or cluster of their region to bring down the dysfunctional STPs. We know the dysfunctional STPs. Just give them a target. Bring it down by 10, 20 every year or something like that. It is easily, definitely possible. We have the wherewithal. We have the technology. We have done more than 75 such surgeries and they're all working fine. And the payback, you will not believe. I'll just give you an example. There is Alembic urban forest here, 410 KLD RMBR STP, which never worked. The residents spent 90 lakhs, mind you, setting right that plant, and the payback was hardly 1 year because they were purchasing all tanker water. If you see, all the big apartment complexes are in the peripheral areas where there is no municipal supply. They depend on tanker water mostly, and groundwater is fast depleting. It's not a guaranteed source. STP is the only guaranteed perennial source of water for 60% of their requirements. It's as fundamental as that. So, water security and economic benefits, two major reasons.
Got it. Yes. Harshit, would you like to come in on the government bit? Yeah.
Yes. So I would like to quote examples of Swachh Bharat Mission 2 fund, which has been allotted to Madhya Pradesh. and there are about 350 sewage treatment plants being set up in tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 towns and villages. So one thing which is I would like to appreciate the MP government here is that they have included they have made some provisions of technology providers who can come in along with civil contractors here. So एक वो बहुत अच्छा चीज करी इन लोगों ने कि जो टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइडर्स ने अलग अलग साइज के प्लांट्स बना रखे हैं एंड these plants are like 200, 300, 500 KLD, going up to 5 MLD and 6 MLD. So smaller players who have done these kind of plants before, so they have allowed them to come into picture. So this is one thing, one good thing that has happened, and these people have also accepted that up to 1 MLD, up to 500 KLD to 1 MLD, they are accepting technologies like constructed wetlands and diverts as implementable technologies. After 1MLD, they are preferring different like extended aeration and MBBR and RMBR stuff and all. And after 5MLD, they are preferring SBR plants. So they have understood this. So government has understood this. But now a problem comes how these people are putting up the tenders. They are putting up tenders based on some DPR. Now, who is making those DPRs? There are different companies which are coming in to make those DPRs, and the actual gap between the actual on ground scenario and what is proposed is completely blasphemous. So we have come the projects that we got. So we did the survey again. Wherever there is 1 MLD mentioned, Dr. Ananth, you would be surprised that we did not see any flow before the rains in those drains. Basically, these are interception and diversion projects that they are
Correct.
making, and now uh, their uh, uh, their their saying of this is that yes, we have estimated the STP size of 1 MLD based on the population. So I said, if you are estimating based on the population, there must be some drains which should be coming in. आपको actual waste water लेके चलना चाहिए था. अब जब कोई summers में waste water ही नहीं आएगा, तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे? मतलब कोई भी STP बनाएगा तो वो चालू कैसे करेगा? So this was one thing, and it is both sides where they have given 500 KLD, 2 MLD sewage is coming in that nala out of nowhere. So this the disconnect between whoever is doing the DPR and the local body, government local body, is very high. This is one of the bigger problems that we are facing. Other than that, general problems with government is again, as Anand sir said, pollution control board officials, they should be given targets that whatever, and there should be like a lokpal or something. I do not believe in all these things. I just believe that anybody is complaining about wastewater or nala somewhere, it should be heard of by anybody, by NGT, by CM helpline number, or by PCB. Somebody should pay heed to it and just ensure that this works. And people, if you इंडियंस आर लाइक डंडा मारेंगे तो काम करेंगे. अगर किसी ने डंडा मारा तो शायद काम हो भी जाए, बट वो डंडा मारने वाले लोग ही नहीं है.
Got it. Fair point. Is Suresh M G sir on the call as well? We had a question for him. I think he has dropped off.
I don't see.
Anyways, we have another question for both of you. So, Dr. Ananth, Harshit, my question was, this is my question. So, how do you envisage or envision the future scenario of wastewater treatment in India? We see that the pipelines bring the wastewater to a treatment plant, whether it be it a centralized or decentralized ones. Do you see any merit, or do you see the world evolving to, let's say, something like where the treatment is being done in the pipes itself, something like a biopipe or something? So where do you see the wastewater treatment sector heading? Maybe 10, 20, 50 years down the line. So yeah, what's your opinion on that?
This biopipe and all, I don't believe in. Being a chemical engineer, I simply do not understand if the reaction kinetics, the mass transfer and all will support those. In fact, we are operating a plant for Cisco, 2 plants, and the third plant happens to be a biopipe. I've seen it doesn't work at all. So It's all voodoo technologies, I call them. The conventional technologies are still the best. Maybe there will be some improvements in, let us say, some of the equipments. So for instance, about 25 years ago, it was the surface aerators. Then the diffusers came in, huge technological improvement. Then again, sludge handling. Earlier, we had a choice between filter press and decanter centrifuge. Now the volute screw press has come, which is a major improvement in terms of the cost savings, the operating cost. We did a recently comparison for 1,200 KLD daily ETP. We were the consultants for Britannia. We did a cost comparison between the decanter centrifuge and the volute screw press. Although the volute screw press was about 4 lakhs more than the decanter, the payback in terms of energy cost was hardly a few months. So we do all these. I mean, and let me tell you another thing, Priyanshu and Harshit and everybody. You may have the best of technologies, but you have to understand the psychology of the end user. So that is
Yes.
what more important than giving him the technology. So we have to look at
Yes.
what he is comfortable with. So that's more important. So just being a good environmental engineer doesn't solve the problem. You have to be a good psychologist as well. So this is what we do. We look at the end
Yes.
user's comfort level and then design a treatment plant. So for instance, in small 100, 120 KLD and other things, we now design the plant, the builder builds it. So we design the plant for 2 shift operation so that the later the operating cost doesn't go high. Manpower cost is going to be the major challenge in the coming years. We know that. So we are also moving towards
Mm.
automation of the treatment plant. We've already done a good pilot automation here, reducing from 3 operators to single operator in the general shift. And then
Okay.
later, if we have a cluster of these automated plants, we'll have a control center where one environmental engineer looks at all the TV images and sees whether everything is working properly. So that's the way to go. Automation
Got it.
is
Yeah.
the way to go.
Got it. Harshit, your views on the same?
I agree with Ananth sir. Automation is one way forward where we reduce the operator costs. Basically, now whatever AMC we get, we provide just one operator. Other than that, everything is on one screen or one computer where maintenance team is sitting in our office. We do that.
Okay.
In terms of technologies, again, as Anand sir said, it does not matter whichever technology you use. You have to find the right fit between who is the buyer and what is the सबसे पहले तो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है ऑपरेटर्स की बड़े एसटीपीज में ऑपरेटर्स को भी चीजें समझ में आनी चाहिए तो
Hmm. Yeah.
one big thing is कि you should have a good training program in place. You should have easier technologies to put in place. And like we discussed before, do not go behind technologies. For villages and all, anaerobic facultative ponds are much useful rather than SBR, MBBR और वो सब लगा दिया. Mark my words, all these plants, all these 350 plants in Madhya Pradesh will fail if RMBR systems and different systems are put in place because they use
Okay.
gear systems and this and that. There are a lot of electromechanical items, and the will to operate the STPs is not there in the local bodies right now. One of the major reasons behind this is they are considering water as a infinite resource. This is one of the major problems. Because, sir, Anand sir, I think the next Bangalore would be Pune. I think Pune has already come to
Indore.
that level.
No, in
And
fact,
next
every
Pune
city,
will be Indore.
Even Chennai during summer is in the same boat. Every
Yes.
city is going to pass through that, I'm sure.
Instead of, sir, it is very disheartening to know that the government people do not have this vision, at least, to save rainwater. Like Suresh sir would agree if he would have been here. In Bhopal, I was just calculating if we just tap 30% of rainwater which is coming in by mandating rainwater harvesting of all the buildings, first of all, and major roads which are not connected to any sewer lines or nalas. If we only tap that, we will have enough fresh water for our own use, for Bhopal's own use. Fresh water usage, sir, completely. We are not even considering STP treated water right now. And these people are pumping everything, every water from Narmada and all, 80 kilometers away, 100 kilometers away. There is a proposal to increase the Narmada pumping stations of Indore by 200%. Not even 100%, not even 50%, sir, 200%. And they do not have any rainwater, sir.
Yes.
So this is because of this, they are considering water as an infinite resource. Whenever Narmada dries up, Indore will see Hahakar. And Bhopal also
Absolutely.
will see Hahakar.
Yeah, I'd also like to kind of pitch in here. So basically, Indore already has the most expensive water in the country, similar to how Bangalore draws water from Kaveri, which is about 80, 100 odd kilometers away. Indore draws water from Namana, but the elevation is higher. So therefore, the cost of water in Indore is highest. And we draw 85% of our water from Narmada, which is no longer reaching the sea, right? I'm not sure if you can draw 2x or 3x more water from Narmada because the city of Ahmedabad also draws its water from the Narmada, fills up its Sabarmati Riverfront, etc. And this is in a time when we've experienced more than average rainfall for the past 3 to 5 years. I really hope a situation doesn't come where we get less than average rainfall. That would be really disastrous for the entire city and water availability. So, yeah, kind of hoping for better water management measures so that none of us kind of face the problem there. Yeah.
And for speaking about Indore, because you're from Indore, I am from Bhopal. Indore is one such place where people do not want to install an STP rather than give some money to the PCB.
Yeah.
If there is a 10 lakh rupee STP to be installed, and if they have to pay 12 lakh rupees to the PCB official, they would prefer paying 12 lakh rupees to the PCB official. So this is the
Yes.
status of ground status in Indore, sir.
Absolutely. So this was actually one of the reasons why we moved away from STPs and started working towards water bodies. So I'll kind of leave it at that. Mansi, do we have any questions from YouTube or any other sources as well?
Uh, Thank you so much, Priyanshu. Oh my God, you are such a good host. I'm just thinking
Thank
that you
you.
take over running our shows. Why not? Please do that for the rest of the shows as well. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for this well knitted interactive session, because I want to also make a disclaimer here, because I will now raise some issues which have been put in the YouTube. So you are aware that our speakers and Priyanshu, that we are YouTube live and we also take questions and points from there. I do have many questions, and Priyanshu, you just raised a little point here why you moved from STP to the lakes and ponds. And let me just take the questions from the YouTube, so that so I will start with the opportunity and then with the challenge raised in the YouTube, so that we have a fair deal there. So from Watson Water is to Harshit, are you open for collaboration to upskill community, teach them how to build DWAT Vortex method, and we take it to all rural areas where STP is still a distant dream. So just to let you know, Chandrasekhar Jayaraman is a good friend and a long time speaker at W4W, and Harshit, at W4W, we are connecting people, not only connecting water droplets. So I will connect you if you don't know him, and but I think Priyanshu knows him, so we can connect as well. So that's the opportunity part. Now there is a challenge which has been raised in the YouTube, and I want to bring forth, and it is from Simar Kohli, who is also a Wiki Water Resource Council Goa and Karnataka member, very active in wastewater field. And the first thing she has raised, and I also want to make it a point here, is that there is no woman in the panel. So we have to know that we have been running more than 400 sessions, and there will be some times when we don't have women, but there are also many sessions when there are only women. So this is something, because we have been advocating for always gender balanced sessions. So she has made that point, and we will keep that in mind, but sometimes practically it is not possible. But my question now comes from here to both Harshit, not both, but actually all three of you. Maybe you can give very brief answer to it. In the field of wastewater, I also know very few women working in this field. So just curious how it is in Madhya Pradesh and in the places where you are working. Do you really find women in the wastewater? Because from Wiki Water Resource Council, I know Alka, Dr. Alka Palrecha, Simar Kohli, and just few of them. What's your experience of having women in this field, so that at least we can answer part of the problem of the session today? Who wants to take it?
I'll tell you, Mansee.
Go ahead,
I
sir.
find there are a lot of women doing MTech environmental engineering more than in fact the boys. And in fact, in my company, out of the seven engineers, I have five of them are boys, two are girls. And girls are doing a good job. I try to reduce their moving around, going to the sites, but they have to visit the sites. But they are excellent doing the design proposals and other things. They are coming up very fast. They are picking up. The men folk, I keep them for doing the rounds and other things because it is a challenge in Bangalore, even for the men folk today. In fact, I went to Biocon today this morning. Surprisingly, I made it in one hour and 15 minutes. I allocated 2 hours for that, and I ended up very early at the meeting. But it's a surprise. But it is a big challenge for, in fact, girls and ladies to move around.
Yeah,
It doesn't. So they are more comfortable. So prefer to give the jobs which people are more comfortable with, and they are more productive in what
yeah.
they are happy to do.
Yeah, because it just yeah, 2 days ago the women's Indian cricket team won the World Cup, and we are really talking more about women engagement. But I would also like to highlight that Wiki Water Resource Council is now going to be 6 years old. We have more than 100 council members, and if you need someone to really engage with, to talk about, and even for other events, please let us know. We do acknowledge and appreciate their work on every Monday, as I mentioned, as one of our series. Now, just bringing another question which Simar Kohli has raised about what we have been also talking on DWATs and all with some power based tertiary and vertex mentioned. If will they work or not, but also she raises a concern at having treated water in many projects across India and have met PCB norms. It advised to invite best practices and also going back to the systems that are outdated. Is it what can we learn from the outdated systems? And especially she makes a point that aerobic systems were for cold countries. What do we have for our country? So this is something which probably some of you can point out. Yeah, so that closes our YouTube points as well. So we can come back to Zoom.
Yeah. Dr. Ananth, Harshit, would you like to answer that? That aeration systems maybe were for earlier designed for colder countries, but let's say for tropical countries like ours, should we are there any particular systems for tropical countries?
No, in fact, aerobic systems are best suited for tropical countries. 25
Yes.
degrees, 30 degrees, they work best. For
Yes.
instance, every 10-degree change in temperature increases the reaction rate by 2 times. So, in
Yes.
fact, aerobic systems will suffer. In fact, now we are thinking, along with IIT Madras, they want to set up a center of excellence for wastewater treatment at NIT Srinagar. So we are going to petition the government of India, and I am the external expert to advise the IIT Madras group, which is trying to do that. So it will be good to understand what are the challenges in such cold climates. We did a project for a mushroom factory in Kunur in Ooty at a height where the temperatures can go down very low. But there are no problem. We are more concerned about the temperature of the wastewater rather than the ambient temperature. Of course, it will have an effect. But then if you take into consideration the temperature difference, the oxygen level difference and other things for the geographical conditions, you should face no problems. It all depends on good design, good engineering again, based on where the plant is located.
Because
Okay.
this point has come up, sir,
Hmm?
I would really like to quote here uh, the biodigesters which and the bacteria which were developed by DRDO and all. Those are very much in popularity right now because MP government wants to use biodigesters in instead of the STPs in sites like colleges and schools and hospitals and all. So, what is your take, Anand sir, on this? Sorry,
I
Priyanshu,
have
I
not
just
studied. I
go
have
ahead.
not studied that in detail, to be frank. So I'll not
Yes.
be able to comment. But many of these things, people claim enzymes and things like that, which increase the thing. In fact, I don't outright dismiss them. We do a lot of studies, we do experiments on the lab scale, and in fact, even on the field scale. When somebody says my enzyme does this, my enzyme does that, we found yes, it does something when the plant is upset and you want to bring it back to full normal condition. The enzymes and these external supplementation work. But after that, it is the bacteria or the microbes or the bugs which are acclimatized within your treatment plant are best suited. No external supplementation is going to do that.
Yes.
It's like bringing in somebody from outside and trying to do something. The best is they are well suited. They understand the environment. They have grown in that environment. They are best suited. So survival of the fittest, not outside external things. I have tried it. I have tried it on a plant scale, lab scale for 2 months at a time in ITC. Many have come from Australia, from Switzerland, selling these enzymes. But these are not, for the long term, it is not. For initial startup stabilization, they may do well. But after that, the bacteria which is acclimatized in that particular environment is best suited. So
Exactly.
DRDO, I may not be able to comment if it's something like this, these enzymes.
Right. I think
Okay,
I
I will have to jump in because every
Sure.
conversation is always very interesting and it can flow like water. But as the host of the session, and I also have to respect my researchers who do editing, who are not really professional editors, so we struggle if the session goes beyond certain time. With this, before I close, I would also like to announce our next session next week on Monday, Munching and Musing with Women for Water. On November 10th, we are interacting with Dr. Suparna Katyayani and Dr. Suchira Deepta Bhattacharji. More information is in the chat box and it will be also there later on. And on Wednesdays for Water, do join us from the IASC series on November 12th at 5 p.m. IST, which is Nepal time 4:45 p.m. for a discussion on reframing Nepal's water debate around climate reality. This show will also go into the World Commons forum, which is scheduled on December 1st week. So with this session, we will continue. We are actually booked until January end, which also tells that we are going to flow with the conversation at W4W. We strongly believe that water conversation is crucial for water conservation. That's also our tagline for the session. We are very grateful to all our speakers, over 600 of them, who have made us help bring the conversations to 400 plus mark, and we are going strong as you just heard me. Thank you so much, Priyanshu Kumath. I really wish that you really host us more often. This was such a wonderful session, smoothly flowing like water, and I agree that we should have different viewpoints, we should have contrary viewpoints, and I invite everyone to do that. Thank you, Dr. Ananth Kodavasal sir, Suresh M G, and of course, dear Harshit Sharma. I hope we will have more things to do together in future. It was really good to see Suresh sir from the field, straight from the horse's mouth. I have many questions for this session, but I think we'll take it outside the session. Do stay tuned with us at www.w4w.in. All our sessions are open access to everyone who is interested to learn about water and who is interested to connect with anyone who has spoken on our platform. You can reach us and we will connect you with them. Thanks everyone. Thank you so much. See you next time, sometime very
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Mansi. Thank you,
Thank you,
Priyanshu.
all the speakers.
Priyanshu.
Thank you all for attending.
Thank
Good day.
you. Bye bye.